It's not a window.
Yeah, I'm not using Windows, so I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
True, I'm using a Mac as well.
Yeah,
Me too.
I think it might be that instead.
Okay, anyone sharing screen? Nobody? All right. Okay, I'm just gonna test this. Okay, hope all of you are able to see this.
Yeah.
Slideshow. Okay. And then try the other here. Okay, let me try to play. Can you hear the music?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Really, I think you should, maybe you can try make it louder a bit for the video.
Oh, louder, it's too soft.
Yep.
Okay, let me try this volume. How about this?
Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, 2 minutes, then we'll open up and stop my screen share, play music. We have about, how many signups we've got, Connie?
Around 60.
Wow. Just assume some attrition. Okay, so with me, we will also have Grace Lin who might join us. I think some of you know Grace Lin from Sing soon, so she will be perhaps joining me with the moderating. Yeah, but you guys have the question beforehand already, so far so good. Yeah.
Really, did Grace get the Zoom link to enter?
Grace,
Because I think she's not in yet.
she's not in yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me be inviting and send it over. Connie, I've pasted it for you. Can you share it with her? Can you email her, please?
Sure.
Or do you have her number? She's also in our chat group. She's also in our chat group. If you can find her.
All right. Then I will WhatsApp her.
Okay. Are we on Facebook now? Daryl, can you please check? It should be.
Yes, it's showing. It's showing.
It's showing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay, let's allow the attendees in. I'll just play some music first, and then we'll start at about maybe close to 4:35, and then we'll kickstart with the video, introductory video. Then I'll do the introduction, and then I'll introduce the speakers. Is that good? Okay. All right.
There's no link in the group for the Facebook if you wanted to share that.
I already shared in the chat group.
Oh, in Zoom.
Yeah, chat link.
Chat. Go to the chat in Zoom.
Okay. I thought it was in the other one. Okay, chat. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna.
So I will let the attendees enter the room.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends sat at the table doing shots, tripping fast, and then we talk slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. When we came, we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour, and how your family's doing okay. And leaving, getting a taxi, kissing the backseat, tell the driver make the radio play. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, be my baby, come on. 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 Come on, be my baby, come on.
Hi, my name is Renee and welcome to the HER show. According to a recent Mastercard report,
Singapore is ranked number 5 in terms of the most enabling supporting conditions for women.
However, the report also noted that only 27.5% are female-led businesses. So we are here today at Raffles Place to interview the streets. Let's see if anyone could name a female entrepreneur.
Richard Branson would be one of them.
The guy from Uber.
Ho Kwon Ping.
Warren Buffett. The guy from One Championship.
Jeff Bezos from Amazon.
Simon Hu.
Jack Ma.
Bill Gates. Kylie Jenner.
Mr. Justin Chiu. He's the founder of ARA Asset Management.
Oprah Winfrey. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg.
He's able to establish a holdings company, and with all the major acquisitions in the industry,
able to do something nice for the society while at the same time making money for your business.
They are able to innovate and create.
For them to step out and take a risk, I think it's a lot of courage is needed.
Someone who can influence the behavior of quite a lot of different people and to change their mindset.
A lasting legacy, so setting up a company that survives the test of succession, that continues to grow.
Someone who makes his own business, his or her own business, earns a lot of money from it and helps society.
I can't quite think of.
Can't really think of one right now.
That's embarrassing. I don't think I can.
I'm so sorry, I really can't think of that right now.
For a lady, anyone.
No, I can't give you any, not off the top of my head. I'm sure there are plenty, I'm just being really ignorant.
Oprah Winfrey, because I feel that she can really engage like to a very wide audience.
Maybe one of our local influencers, Dưới, she has marketed herself very well on Instagram.
Is Ellen DeGeneres entrepreneur? because from my definition, I was thinking like you have your own business and then you give back to society, and Ellen DeGeneres is super generous and everything, and she always gives to the needy and everyone else.
Some of these include Cher Wang from HTC, Zhang Xin from Soho, China, Solina Chow from Li Ka-shing Foundation, Christina Gore from Gore Capital, Anita Ambani from Reliance Industries. However, none of these successful Asian women entrepreneurs were at the top of my recall amongst any of our interviewees. This could be perhaps due to the lack of media coverage of these successful women entrepreneurs. We at HER Entrepreneur hope to change that. We hope to inspire, educate, and empower women entrepreneurs to harnessing the power of women in entrepreneurship, leadership, and relationship.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome to the virtual HER Entrepreneur Asia series. Thank you so much for joining us. And today is right? It's everyone's birthday. So happy birthday to all of you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us in this series. And today it will be a very interesting session where we're gonna discuss about from farm to fork, right? How you build a sustainable ecosystem, all right? And we have very interesting speakers today from various countries, background. And yeah, before we begin, I'd like to start off with a quick introduction about what we do as well. So later on, there will be a networking session. So do rename yourself with your name, your company, and contact or email if you would like to be reached. All right, so the agenda, so we'll start with the introduction to HER Entrepreneur and the chapter leader's introduction, followed by the speakers, the upcoming events, our digital membership and attendees introduction, and then networking session later on. And a little bit about us, what we do. So HER Entrepreneur is an inclusive and diverse community of entrepreneurs, leaders, government, and investors across Asia. It is an omni-channel media platform where we inspire, educate, empower, and connect the community. You may be wondering why HER is this only a women-centric platform? No, it is inclusive, meaning in all of our sessions, in all of our programs, the attendees for all of our years of conferences, there were men, right? So this is the only place where you see diversity, where a good balance of male-female founders. And with this brand, we want to attract more female founders to want to go to a business setting, a networking session, and whatnot. All right, so we've been holding monthly LearnX network sessions before COVID. That was every month in Singapore, but in Singapore and Malaysia, by the way. We hold annual conferences since 2017, where we bring together the C-suites and founders of various industries to come together in different countries as well to, talk about business strategies, technology, innovation. And this was also in Malaysia in 2019, where we had the government support, the ministry as well. Yeah. and the rest of the stakeholders who came by to support. So that's, a picture, right? We even had masterclasses, leadership masterclasses for entrepreneurs and site visits. And here are some pictures. This time, because of the pandemic, we have shifted to online sessions, but we started since 2019 anyways. So we continued on in 2020. We moved everything online with our digital summits and festivals, where this time founders and C-suites from all over the world can finally come together, okay, in these sessions. So for today, it's going to be a very interesting discussion. We would, like to introduce our speakers shortly, and these were our past series, right, where we had various topics being discussed, and there will be opportunities for the attendees to also ask questions, share insights, and we'll end off with a networking session. And if you'd like to receive updates or be updated with our events, our content, feel free to check us out in all of these channels, marketing channels. Okay. All right. We also have a WhatsApp group. So it's just bit.ly/her-community if you'd like to join us on WhatsApp as well. Here's the QR. So all these information will be shared on the chat group again. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our chapter leader, right? Well, I mean, it's still holiday season, so not everyone could attend. But we do have Graceline, who's able to join us today. So I'd like to, have Graceline to introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see some of the faces back here. My name is Grace. I'm from Sing Sisun Flora and Landscape. I'm part of a 5th generation in a family business. We provide flora and greenscape services to the local hospitality in Singapore. And we've recently launched our experiential garden center at Simei, where we host a series of events to champion our initiative like support local, bring farm to table, what we're going to be talking about today, as well as empowering the communities to journey with their flowers and plants. Very nice to meet everybody. Looking forward to a fruitful event today.
Thank you so much, Grace. Okay, and the topic for today is From Farm to Fork, Building Sustainable Ecosystem in Urban Cities. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the speakers on screen. First, I would like to introduce Bjorn Loh, the co-founder and executive director of Edible Garden City. So he is a practicing urban farmer and a social change maker. He is an Ashoka Fellow, a young leader of the World Cities Summit, and the co-founder of the Edible Garden City. Urban farming social enterprise. Bjorn's practice and research focuses on identifying the value that urban agriculture brings to the communities of highly dense and food import dependent cities such as Singapore. He has a keen interest in how he shifts in social ecology and demographic changes and how the rapidly aging population present a new opportunity for urban care farms to play a bigger role in the rejuvenation of cities. Let's welcome Bjorn on screen, and you will be spotlighted as well. Okay. All right. So next up, I would like to introduce Sine Ko, CE ByNature Asia from Vietnam. She's originally from Denmark, so Sine has spent most of her life outside her native country. Along with her husband and 2 sons, they lived in the US, Europe, and Asia. And upon moving to Vietnam in 2016, she had the opportunity to found ByNature. And ByNature's core business is to source clean and safe fruits and vegetables, right? So over the past years, other products have found their way into their web shop. The business is built on the belief of sustainable and regenerative farming without the use of chemicals. And ByNature also supports small farmers and ethnic minorities in their quest to return to traditional and all-natural farming practices. Some call it organic. And her background is, she's a lawyer by education. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today, Sine. And next up, we'd like to introduce Deborah. Deborah is a co-founder from Urban Sprout, Singapore. She's been working in the banking industry for the last 20 years, starting out in investment banking for the first 10 years of her career. running teams in large private banks for the last 11 years. And she co-founded Urban Sprouts a year ago, where we also met recently, with the mission of wanting to make sustainable and healthy living more sustainable for everyone. So while they started growing for restaurants and hotels, she quickly realized that the best way to help Singapore achieve the 30 by 30 vision was to equip more people with the ability to grow their own food. And last but not least, we'd like to welcome Zoe Ng. Zoe Ng is the co-founder and marketing manager of AgroBright Farm Malaysia. So she has a marketing background. She's a really passionate person who provides organically grown vegetables and fruits to the local consumers. And her main objective for founding AgroBright Farm is to educate consumers on the foods they take and be more health conscious. All right, so thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to kickstart this together with Grace Lin. So Grace Lin will also co-moderate this session with me because of her vast experience in this area as well. So now the first question for you guys would be, what inspired you to start this business? All right, who would like to start first? Perhaps Deborah.
Yeah, sure. Coming from a banking background, I found I was really time poor. And when I started growing my own microgreens, I found it really awesome for stress relief, and it was also very therapeutic. And it's super nutritious to add into whatever I eat. So I think that's how it all started. And what we really want to do is to help Singapore achieve our 30-30 vision by making it accessible and easy for people to grow your own food at home. So that's how we started it.
And next, Bjorn.
Hi, yes, so we started Edible Garden City about 8 to 9 years ago, and it's been a long journey, and it's been a ever evolving one, and we started on a basis of wanting to look at food security challenges in Singapore. We've since evolved that into looking at how urban planning and urban agriculture can fit to change the way cities, operate in many sense. So I think it's really trying to change the entire food system, which is a very complex system to change. All the way from supply chain down to consumer preference, down to really putting these urban farms within reach of urban consumers and urbanites as well. So that's really where we're headed towards.
All right, thank you, Bjorn and Sine.
Yes, we came to Vietnam about 5 years ago and found it difficult to find vegetables that were not full of pesticides, and that took us onto a quest of locating and starting to source with the possibility to start a business from it as well. We did that, and it's been an incredible journey because we're in a country where we didn't know many people, so we've met an incredible amount of people that are committed to farming sustainable. And it's a smaller group of people because there's a lot of farming happening in Vietnam, but there's also a lot of farming happening with pesticides, and that's what we really wanted to get away from. There's an alarming number of pesticides being used every day, all the time here. So for us, it was a question of finding products that are grown all natural, and we've took us the better part of a year and a half to 2 years to actually find enough products before we could start selling. And so we've done that. And then, as you mentioned, we've had more products come in. We didn't have a business plan as such to which product. It's more been what's available. And we've come upon honey, which was not a thing that we specifically wanted, but we came across this amazing honey way out in the forest, close to the Cambodian border. It's natural and it's wild. And those are the kind of products that find their way into our web shop. And it's just a journey every time that we find new products, we meet new people. So it's been very fruitful for us on so many levels.
Thank you. And how about Zoe?
Hi. Okay, I'm Zoe. So actually, basically my background is marketing in FMCG line. Actually, it's like what inspired me to be start up this agrobite farm is because like people is like looking nowadays, they are more on health conscious and they want to know like where are the food source coming from and what they are consuming today. So we can see that in Malaysia is like potential market, and then it's like not that much of farms that produce organically and then directly to the end consumer. So basically, it's like we just want to educate consumer on their health conscious. Yeah.
So just a quick question. I mean, what are some of the challenges that you guys face and how do you ensure sustainability in your business model? It's not an area or industry that is it's easy for everyone to take on. Urban farming is tricky as well, right? To ensuring yield and also productivity, yet at the same time has to be profitable so that there's sustainability. So what are some of the challenges that you face, and also how do you ensure sustainability in your business model? Who would like to go first? Beyond perhaps.
Okay, thank you for the question. So yeah, that's a big question. What are the key challenges? I think it's the challenge always with urban agriculture is that the spaces we're dealing with is quite small in size. The infrastructure set up for whether it's indoor farms or rooftop farms, the cost can be quite high. So our production per square meter or square feet is actually quite expensive. Thus the products tend to be less competitive than imported produce. I think that's what a lot of urban farms are facing if we are kind of trying to compete with imports from maybe Zoe's farm or Cameron Highlands, for example. We can never fight the cost quantum. So that there is always a need for urban farmers to innovate the varieties we grow, the market we serve, just to ensure that we can survive. So it is a tough space to be in. But it is also a very promising space to be in as the food system change.
Interesting. Right, next, who else? Sydney, you're unmuted, so out of convenience.
Well, yeah, I think I feel we have a few number of challenges, none that we can't overcome, but some that we definitely had to consider. One of them is that in Vietnam as such, there's no definition of what's organic. So everyone makes their own standard unless it's a standard that comes from the US or Europe or Japan, in most cases here. But when you have no standards, everyone adheres to their own standards. So it could be less use of pesticides, or it could be non-banned chemicals that are used. So you don't quite know when you grow organic and when products are sold as organically grown, because there are no standards. So that's one of our main concerns, is how can we speak to our suppliers and how can we make sure that our products have none of those chemicals in them. So we do our own independent testing for that one reason. And then another issue that we have is also pricing, because as I said, there's a lot of farming happening in Vietnam, and so there's a lot to buy in the different places. We work with a majority of our farmers are really small independent farmers, and sometimes they work in a co-op. For them to start growing organically, the yield is to begin with a lot less than what they've been used to, hence the price goes up. When you have a lot of carrots in the market, then most people tend to buy the cheaper ones, and that's when we buy them from a small production, they are much more expensive. So we have a price issue as well. But at least we can say that they're clean. So that's one of the advantages.
I see. Deborah?
Yeah, I think when we first started, our biggest challenge is that nobody knew what microgreens are. So microgreens, just for everybody's benefit, they are leafy greens that you harvest in the first 7 to 12 days of their lives. So I think that was our biggest challenge. So it's really about education and showing a lot of our growers that you can include this in your daily diet, and it's not just for the Michelin restaurant chefs, because that's the common misconception, because microgreens actually have up to 40 times more nutrition than their full-size vegetables. So we really wanted to spend a lot of time educating people. We grow everything organically, so we don't really use any kind of innovation or any special equipment to produce. It's a very basic farming method. As long as we're using the best quality seeds, we can ensure a high germination rate and therefore a good yield. So I think that's been our key drive in terms of just doing a lot of R&D to ensure that the seeds that we're using, because we only use organic, are really the top quality, and so that we have a good germination. And then we also don't use any special lights or pesticides or anything like that. So it's just pure, simple farming method. Yeah, I think the education piece has been challenging. So it's difficult to re-educate people when they are older. So what we've done is actually working with a lot of schools and from early childhood. I think that has been very helpful for us. And you find, when we grew up as kids in Singapore, we started growing tauge at home, and that was our early foray into urban farming. And for the children that we work with now, they go home and they bring their little pots of microgreens and they teach their parents about it, and we're seeing a lot more adoption from that.
Yeah. I see. How about Zoe? Any points to share?
Yeah. Okay. So for ours, it's like the challenge is like people, of course, they don't know who are us as well, and then it's like we need to educate people, and then like we are produced locally in Malaysia. And then also it's like pricing is like very competitive, because it's like sometimes the price in the market for non-organic and organic, the price is quite similar, because it's also depending on the harvest of the day and harvest of the month. So it's like quite challenging for us on this as well. Yeah.
Right. So next question about innovation. Right. I'm curious. How do you leverage on innovation for your business, be it to ensure productivity and yield and meeting consumer demands, maintaining costs and things like that? How do you leverage on innovation or technology to do that? And Gracelyn could also chip in on your experience also. Who would like to start first? Beyond?
Thanks for arrowing me again to start.
No, everybody will get a chance. So you're the thorn, right? No, just joking. So yeah.
The thorn and the token male.
Token.
So I think technology, mainly we have been using a lot of inventory management type technology that is already out there. So it's not specific agriculture type technology. A lot of things can be bought off the shelf. It doesn't need to be customized or specialized for. So we try as much to use things off the shelf. So we use Trade Gecko as one of the areas to kind of manage our inventory, to plan ahead of time, to kind of predict yield and things like that. And yeah, so we use online platforms to then manage also the sales orders that come in. Other than that, we don't have very complex sensors or things like that. There are a lot of modern urban or indoor vertical farms have, because the cost is so prohibitive. One of those systems probably costs as much as you probably have to grow vegetables for the next 10 years to pay back the cost of some of these machineries. So we I think one of the challenge which I didn't share in the past in the front was that our lease term for a lot of our urban spaces is quite short. So maximum of 9 years, and you don't really want to sink in a whole lot of money to build up the infrastructure and then having to move in 9 years. So everything we do needs to be kind of adaptable, portable, that we can just move it to a new site when we are moved along. So technology we'll see in terms of things that are more modular, more functional and modular, and we can knock down easily and move away. But really what is very valuable to us, especially as soil growers, is the soil that we build up over time. So we tend to kind of keep these in raised beds or receptacles that hold soil, and when our lease ends, we can then move this gold, this black gold somewhere else to continue to cultivate. So that's some simple technologies that we use. Yeah.
Nice, nice. How about Grace? I mean, you've got your nursery, you also have got your experiential center. Share with us your experience, and you've got different types of, plants.
Yeah. I was just about to ask beyond something before I start sharing about my challenges and experience in this, was that, Beyond has a beautiful space at Edible Garden City, and there was the containers, because we've actually met and he took me on a tour. So Beyond, what do you say with the innovation part? Are you one of the first players to incorporate the modular containers in your space to start growing?
I mean, there are people that have done it before, in the US, in Japan, in Korea. So I would say whether it's important to be first or not. I think it's really how we use the space and how we have positioned the farm to be that touch point for the community to come and learn about various systems, and also to learn about sustainability and closed loop. And in that sense, I guess we were probably one of the first to do so. But I think what was more important was because the space that we are at is 8,000 square meters land, 10 minutes from the CBD, is a collaboration with the government, and based on what we have done in the last 4 years, they have kind of built out a model on how they in the future would tender out land for urban agriculture. So, you need to account for social impact, environmental impact, and community engagement as part of the core model for building an urban farm. I think that was more important for us on being the first to kind of get this sort of tried out and tested in many sense. Yeah.
I might be a beneficiary of your experience that you shared with the government agencies, because we've got 2 startup plots that we are renting from the Singapore Land Authority, and we are on a much shorter lease. So same challenges as what Bjorn has shared, pumping in that amount of capital, you need to calculate your ROI. We are not necessarily growing things, because just with the space that we have, it makes sense for us to use existing products to meet consumer demands, and hence partnering with people like, if Signe was in Singapore or Zoe was in Singapore, we'll be selling your products. Like we carry urban sprouts seeds at my space, and we do a lot of collaborations with workshops, because education is really important. Just spreading the whole campaign of growing green, being able to grow your own source of food, and understanding, pesticides that's used in products. And I think that's a whole process and a whole wave that's starting to hit Singapore in the last, I want to say 5-6 years. Bjorn mentioned 4 years. So I think it's now starting to get more and more. People are more aware, people are more active, and they're looking out for businesses like everyone on the panel today to contribute to that movement.
Right. Hi, but Zoe, Sine, Deborah, what's your take on innovation and technology for your business? Yeah.
I'm happy to share. Our mission is to make healthy and sustainable living accessible, right? So we actually went back to basic and kept it as simple as possible. We designed our cocoa beds to fit into plastic takeaway containers that everybody would have at home. So you actually need as little equipment as possible to grow your own fruit. I mean, we're trying to really make it a lot more sustainable and also just easy and accessible for anyone to start growing without having to invest thousands, like Beyond shared, to grow their vegetables, which they can easily buy from the supermarket for close to nothing. So I think that's what we've actually gone back to basic and gone the reverse when it comes to growing fruit. And it's amazing the quality of how good the quality of your vegetables can be when you're using good quality seeds and really good quality soil. But where we use innovation and technology, it's in terms of our digital marketing, because that's when we can access a lot more people and educate a lot more people quicker. We also use that to understand and predict our potential buying patterns of our customers when we're launching new products, as well as when we're doing a bit of R&D as to what seeds to bring in next.
Right. How about Zoe, Sine?
Yes, I just want to add on to the bringing everything back to basics. That was exactly what I was going to say, in a slightly different way, in the sense that a huge difference between Singapore and Vietnam is there's a lot of land in Vietnam. So we don't have to think quite as innovative as you do in Singapore. What we have done in going back to basics is more going back to farming how it was originally, so before pesticides. We've been trying to clean the soil, making sure that the water is clean and is usable, and to avoid any kind of pollutant that you would need to avoid in that kind of farming. So we've gone back to the early days of farming, basically, except that obviously not using horses in the field, but it's been an interesting journey, because as you mentioned, I'm a lawyer, so I'm not by any means a farmer, and there's been a lot of learning by doing in this process for me. And having been to many of our partner farms, or all of them obviously, but to some of the smaller ones, it's been an experience and a journey to go back and see how they are now cultivating, how they're growing the crop, and how they are using a lot of intercropping. So I think that's a method that's been used, and then we've gone away from that, and now, at least here in Vietnam, that's a method that's coming back up. So multiple crops are being grown on the same land. The latest project that we've benefited from is growing coconut trees in an orchard along with pomelos. So we are just now starting to harvest the pomelos that have come up from that. So yes, definitely, just to round it up, going back to basics. So not super innovative here. It's learning from what we've done well in the past.
Zoe.
Yeah, okay. For us, it's like currently we are using aquaponic system, which is, we think that it's like more sustainable food system, like to promote the environmental sustainability, because it's like we want to let people know that we are growing without soil, without pesticide and herbicide or even chemical fertilizer. So we are organically grown. So it's like we can see that by using this system. So it's like the water filtration system is like go back, it's like the vegetable is absorbing the water nutrition and it will go back to the fish. So we can see that it's healthier for the fish grow as well. And it also like use less than like 90% water comparing to the traditional farming. And it's like
So we can't hear you anymore.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So it's like how we control in like the greenhouse. It's like the temperature, airflow, and also pest control. Is like everything is like under control. So we actually can be like harvesting the yield every daily.
All right, thank you. So, so it's back to basics as we talk about innovation, technology, to drive productivity. Sometimes it's back to basics so that there's quality. So that's the interesting part about urban farming, right? Quality is key, especially in our soils and all that. So, Grace, you do have some questions for the panel list as well.
I think in the industry, you must hire people that will have some technical know-how or be educated or experienced in this field. So my question is, how do you recruit and retain talent in this field? Do you guys provide your own in-house training, or when you are, recruiting, you must have certain qualifications to apply and be able to support your business?
And I wonder what's the qualification, because a lawyer can be turned to an urban farmer also. So what's the qualification? How do you?
I know. I'm excited to hear from the banker. So Deborah, I'm going to let you let the ball rolling.
Sure. I'm a private banker, right? So I'm very good at growing money. So growing vegetables was really not my forte. Sorry, something fell. So it's been a really fascinating journey, and I think that's been our message as well. So if I'm able to be fully sustainable at home now in terms of my own vegetables, and I didn't have any training in terms of this, then it's really something that anyone can start doing as long as you have good quality produce. I'm lucky that my co-founder is actually a third generation farmer. So he does have some background in that. He owns avocado farms in Australia. So I think that has helped us in terms of getting a bit of know-how and doing some of the R&D there. But yeah. Yes, Daryl, growing money to growing vegetables. Exactly.
Yeah. So I do think that the credibility maybe stem from just getting your hands green and being successful in growing some crops. How about Sydney in Vietnam? Do you have problems with like finding the right talent or the right people to be able to leverage your business?
Yeah, yes and no. I think I think as in all businesses, what's important is that you have the right people in the right places. So people with the knowledge that's required to do what it is that they do. Just because I'm a lawyer and I do kill my own plants at home sometimes, it does, but at least I know what I need to test for in pesticides when it comes to produce. And then we leave the growing to the people who knows how to grow and who's done it all their lives. Retaining so for other parts of our business, we also do have the we have support. We have support in finance, we have support in marketing again, because
the sound.
Sydney, I think we're losing you a little bit. I think we
volume.
missed you a little bit when you stood up and closed the door. Could you like kind of reiterate like what you say so we could you are able to share what you just said? Yeah.
The doctor when I'm there. I think basically it's the message is it's important to have the right people in the right places, and we have support also with accounting. We have support with marketing, and then we get help from where we need it. It's difficult to keep good people in place also because we are a smaller company, so we only have so much to offer in terms of teams and workplace in general. But it's been okay. We've been lucky with the people we have.
Yeah, that. It sounds like if anybody came with the right attitude, you could train them and you could teach them, and they can take on the skill set to be able to be part of your business. So that's really good. Zoe, how about you in Malaysia?
Okay, yes, of course, that is a bit hard for us to recruit the talent right now, because it's like youngster, like nowadays the people they don't want to be like get their hands to be dirty, and they prefer to be work in the office. So it's like we are looking like for people that are really like interested in agriculture and aquaculture. So it's like people that they are more interested. It's just like it's better for us to retain them in this industry.
I guess the thorn among the roses beyond, because you've got such a huge team and you've got such a vibrant team, right? It's always your space is always having recruiting, like, new businesses, and you are open to them doing R&D at your space as well, which is very honorable. Do you want to share how do you recruit and retain talent in the space?
Yeah, I think we never had a challenge recruiting people from the early days because of how we are positioned, and as a social enterprise as well. I think that is also quite a strong draw for a lot of the millennials searching for purpose in their work. So we're able to kind of give them a little bit of that. So it was never been the challenge trying to get people into the business. I think the challenge really is that we tend to train for a couple of years, and then people do leave to pursue other things because we don't pay very well, because again we are farmers, right? So so there's always this kind of challenge, but we just see it as in a way that we are kind of a platform for people wanting to go into the industry. We are bridging them and giving them knowledge so they can move on to then start maybe something of their own within the industry, or urban agriculture industry, or the sustainability industry. Today, we're still running at about a 40-person headcount, and that has gone down and up, but it's kind of constant about 40. And the people come from really diverse walks of life. We have autistic adults, we have ex-bankers, we have aerospace engineers and things like that. So so they all bring very unique perspective to the business, and you don't really need specific growing experience before joining. It's good if someone has agriculture experience, which is far and few in between for Singapore, right? So so normally we tend to bring in the fresh grads from the life sciences department, you know, where they already have at least some connection with plants and plant biology. But a lot of things on the farm is not whether you know how to grow a plant or grow vegetables. It's really about operations and process and protocols and being responsible, being on time, and which, you know, sometimes can be quite hard for a lot of people, you know, to have that kind of discipline. So that is is a challenge, and today I think in Singapore, if you want to become a farmer or agriculture specialist or agriculture engineer, you cannot go to university and then get a degree on that, because there's just no course in the universities locally that will give you that. So you need to go to somewhere in Europe or in the US to then get a degree in agronomy or agriculture science, which is again something that I think needs to be looked at for us to hit the 30 by 30 goal. We need the human capital to be built up in Singapore.
Yeah, I think growing for passion and growing for conversions are very different. I saw that Daryl did mention, do we see more young people now breaking off from the traditional jobs? And you know what Bjorn had said, you've got engineers, you've got bankers, we've got one here with us today that's starting to go into farming, because I feel that people see the need to be able to go back to basics, provide our own source of food. I think that's important. And you're right, Bjorn, I think a lot of the community that we've built, because there's so many different school of thoughts to how to grow your crops best, sometimes it's very helpful with somebody with a technical know-how. Like Deborah's partner, Strats, he's got the hands-on experience, but he may not have the educational qualifications to be a farmer, but he brings a huge wealth of experience and knowledge to the people, to the products that you have, to the workshops that, you know, you host to talk about urban sprouts itself, about the microgreens, educating people how to grow on cocoa peat, being sustainable. Okay, does anybody want to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, for Daryl's questions now, you know, even in corporate world, when you speak and work with a younger generation, they all want to have a purpose, like what Beyond said, right? So if we're able to connect them that, you know, actually urban farming is helping us to be more sustainable. We import less vegetables. Yes, it's cheaper to fly in our veggies from China, but the amount of carbon footprint of flying that xiaobai cai that you only pay $2 for, it's really damaging to the environment, because we have to put it on a plane, it's to fly you in aircon, and then you put it into supermarkets. But if you're able to grow it in your own backyard or to get it from a Singapore farm, then the carbon footprint we're able to reduce is quite significant. So I think there is a lot more awareness, especially in the younger generation, to either want to go into this industry or B, grow their own food. And we see that in certain areas like community farms, as well as the plots that we have in a lot of the HDB estates, where you can actually just rent your own plot, or even in City Sprouts, a Sprout Hub, where you can rent a lot as well. And a lot of these are actually young people wanting to become urban farmers. So it's pretty amazing to see this movement here now. Yeah, probably half of them are trained by Beyond.
Well, it sounds like a lot of the way that businesses that has done a bit of urban farming is going towards marketing their products geared on being sustainable. So how do each of you market your offerings differently to drive sales? Maybe Signe, would you want to share with us in Vietnam? How does it work?
I was just going to go back to what Deborah said. Drawing from my experience, I am from Denmark, and Denmark has been growing organically for quite some time now. And I think it's been a wave of young people who have understood the importance of getting back to, again, basics, and getting away from the pesticides, and getting away from the hormones that's being used in both plant and meat food. and I've experienced quite a large number of younger people getting into farming and actually doing the farming themselves. And also in Copenhagen, there's been a lot of, especially in denser populated areas, there's been a lot of community gardening happening as well, where you would start your own garden along with whoever lives in your area, and then they all tend to this garden. Obviously, being in the up north, there's only so many months a year that you can farm, but it's had a great success, not only for the farming and eating your homegrown tomatoes, but also for the community as such. And for sure, it's the younger population that brings that back.
Zoe, you know, in Malaysia, where a large population of them probably would require halal certification, I mean halal, you know, for the products, how do you market your offerings in this scenario then in Malaysia?
Sorry, Grace. Yeah, sorry, because my light connection is a bit
no, that's all
unstable.
right. So I was just asking, in Malaysia, where, you know, a large population probably requires, the demographics require you to have some halal certification for your products. How do you market your offerings differently in Malaysia?
Okay, basically we doesn't like differentiate the offerings in Malaysia, because it's like the consumer power, buying power, the population is a bit different. So it's like we just like market our products into for us it's like more to the morning market and night market. So it's like everyone, they can purchase from there as well. And we also like selling, supplying to the mini market as well. So it's like anyone, the population, depending on the area, they will be going to the mini market to purchase it.
So there's no distinction in the products, in your products when you put it out to sell. It's just consumer. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Bjorn, do you have anything to contribute for the way you market your offerings?
Yes, we employ a direct to customer model, where whether it's B2B or B2C. I think that is on the pretense of this whole thing that we're trying to cut out the middleman, or whether it's the supermarkets or the mini marts, by going direct to customers, kind of trying to build that relationship with the end consumers, for them to come visit the farm, to see where their food is grown. By no means it's not the best model out there, because you know you don't get economies of scale. You know, the rates of sale is quite low as well. But we find that it is something that is has a bigger impact. So we run community supported agriculture programs. So selling direct is the model that we do, and we don't do any sort of advertisement. Everything is done online, based on social media. So yeah, we try to keep it a bit slow as well, because our main bulk of business is really building and maintaining urban farms for developers and hotels and restaurants, and we supply a lot to restaurants as well. So our consumer side is quite small still. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you balance the supply and demand? I'm curious. I mean, if you do too much or too aggressive a marketing campaign, then your sales goes up, but your yield or your production is on a, perhaps you couldn't meet, right, the demands, right? So you know, how do you curb that? Is that the reason why organic produce would be more costly? Is that why they're trying to, you know, balance this out? How do you go about with that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the reason why organic produce is more expensive. The reason why organic produce is more expensive is because it's more labor intensive, and also your loss rates in farming is actually higher, because you're not manipulating the ecosystem to your advantage by spraying indiscriminately. So in that sense, the yield is a lot lower, but quality is a lot higher. But quality is very subjective, right? You know, quality, whether it's taste, is the look of it, is quite subjective. Some people may think organic produce don't taste better, But I personally do think that it tastes better and more superior. So it's subjective, but I think the trying to manage yield and then supply is really a fine balance. Some days we have a lot of waste, like vegetable waste, like a lot of kale that comes out but doesn't get sold. So we try and give that back to the community or to the staff as much as possible. And what we can't give, or it's not good to give as well, goes back into the compost or to feed our worms, all the black soldier flies that live on our farms. So then harvesting their organic material, and that goes back into the soil to feed the soil. So we try and close that loop as often as possible. But there are times where we do have a sudden spike of grasshoppers because our things are not really netted, or a sudden big rain spell that destroys a lot of our edible flowers. These are things that are we can't run away from. So we kind of keep that line of communication very open with our customers, like the chefs and all that, to get them to understand that sometimes we cannot control nature. I mean, we can control nature by building massive greenhouses and things like that, but we tend to keep our space open because that encourage a lot more biodiversity as well. So it's really communicating to customers and getting them to really enjoy in a bounty of harvest, or when we have not enough, they will also understand that, hey, there's not enough. So but it's a fine balance. It's really a fine balance. We sometimes we do not do it right, sometimes we do it right, so it's always ongoing challenge.
So beyond, it's interesting you brought up like how the crops, sometimes may not look as good, or you get like certain insect, chomps on the leaves and stuff. But there has been a rise of ugly food, which is eating sustainably for better food. So there are companies that are taking on these crops and this produce that may not look as pretty, and they are selling it at very affordable prices. So this also brings to the next question. I think Renee is going to ask about sustainability, because this is what we strive to be in our practices, in our business, to be sustainable, right, Renee?
Yes, that's right. How can we be sustainable? I think the first question was, your challenges and how do you ensure sustainability, right? We talk about demand and supply as well. So, sustainable has a few meaning. In your case is, how to create a sustainable environment. But at the same time, how do you balance that sustainability to ensure that eventually it's all about P&L, right? Eventually it's profitable business. So what are the matrices, what are the matrices that you look at to define that this is considered a successful urban farming business? How would you measure that? Because unlike many businesses, you will say, okay, it's just, as long as, profits are good, costs are low, that's good. But in urban farming, I think, there are many different elements, right? It's not just about that. And the work that you put in, right? I don't think you can take a break over weekend. I don't think you can take a break and not water the plants. You're not going to give, the nutrients. So how do you ensure sustainability in all these, in the entire ecosystem, right? Anyone would like to share that? Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, there isn't really like an ISO standard for sustainability. Of course, there's a lot of companies out there like Sustainalytics, which are also kind of like doing the ESG peer comparisons and measuring different companies. So, I mean, it's a really big thing for us as a business to ensure that we're sustainable. We audit our suppliers to ensure that they actually produce everything sustainably. We try to recycle, what we use to grow is actually made out of recycled coconut husks. Unfortunately, we can't produce our own seeds in Singapore, so that has to come in, and we do have to pack them in airtight bags. So there's little areas that really upset us that we cannot use fully paper and recycled materials, but I think we're trying our best as we can. When produce can't be sold, we dry them up and turn them into powder, where we, doing some R&D is to see how we can actually sell those powder as well. But for now, we are dehydrating it and turning into powder. I think it's really important to ensure that your business continues to deliver P&L just so that you can actually continue to run the business to achieve your mission, right? So we are always on the lookout for new products, new seeds. We spend a lot of time on R&D. And I think the most important thing for me and my business partners to continue to stay passionate, because I think that's the way that we can sustain ourselves, and that's the only way that we can sustain our business. Yeah.
Right. Anyone else has any point to add on that?
Yeah, we considered our concept right now is almost from farm to doorstep kind of concept. So we receive the produce in the morning, and we deliver to the end consumer. So it's a B2C setup. That way, we basically only get from the farms what's been sold. This way, there's very little food waste as well. It also, we did at one point consider, should we go into a shop, but we came up against the issue of plastic. As with everything else, you really cannot keep lettuce fresh for a very long time without the use of plastic. There are some vegetables that would be fine, but a lot won't. So we decided just to keep on going the way that we do now, and it's also possible because it is a web shop. Then we have access and we can have delivery. We get our produce from, most of it from the middle northern part of Vietnam. It's about maybe an 8-hour drive from here. So it does leave a bit of a carbon footprint, but you can't grow that produce here. And then it comes overnight. So we can basically order it in the morning and have it the next morning, which makes it a perfect way for us to do that sustainable. We also pack everything in paper. We pack everything in cardboard boxes that's we ask that the customers give back to us. So we reuse that. Anything that is not vegetables, but our pantry items may be coming glass bottles that can be recycled either by the customer, or we take them back and there's a refund system. So we do whatever we can to keep anything as sustainable as possible in that sense.
Zoe or Bjorn?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, for us, it's like the important is like maintaining the quality of the vegetables, the product quality, because it's like we have to like retain the customer and then to build the trust and confidence for them. So it's like everything that we build is like in the greenhouse. That's why we are using the aquaponic system. So it's like to maintain the, most importantly, to sustain the business, we can see that is like to maintain the quality of the products. And of course that we also have to have like harvesting daily as well. So it's like one of the issues is that we need to have the bigger space and bigger land size as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw in the chat someone put financial sustainability, and I think that was very apt because I think the early years when we started, we had very lofty ideals, right? Very purist goals of changing the way agriculture is done, and but then we couldn't feed ourselves. So in that sense, it was not very sustainable because we were not financially sustainable. And it's only until a point where we could get a business to a certain point, were we able to then, make more sustainable choices, make more social impact type projects or initiatives. So business is still very important. I think it's still a very big dilemma for me today because we still use a lot of plastics, right? Like I think Deborah and Signal has indicated, but for us to switch to bioplastics, the cost escalates by, I don't know, a 40-50%. Who is going to absorb that cost? If the consumers is willing to absorb the cost, I by all means I will do it. Or if consumers would share on absorbing the cost together with us, we will definitely do it, because that's where our heart is. But today we still need to keep ourselves competitive. So we were trying to find other ways to, okay, instead of cutting and harvesting and putting it in plastic, maybe we can send it live to the restaurants and then they can cut it themselves and then return us back the punnets. But then it requires a very strict operational procedure behind that to ensure that that is being done. So again, are we able to follow through? That is a big question mark. So sometimes, yeah, we have the right intention, but perhaps maybe it's just not time yet, and we are not at that point of time where we can switch to those models. But it's on top of our minds, and we are always looking for solutions around that.
Right, interesting. Okay, so to end off, I would like you guys to think of one inspirational quote and also an advice to budding or aspiring urban farmers, right? Entrepreneurs want to be, want to go into farming. Think about what is your, just a short liner of it, your advice to them, and also an inspirational quote. All right. So, who would like to go first? Who'd like to go first? Still thinking. Should be easy. Grace, maybe you start first. Get the ball rolling.
Mine is do it now or never.
What's your advice to
Yeah,
aspiring urban farmers? Yeah.
I don't have enough background to provide like technical advice, but I do strongly feel that Singapore provides a lot of support. So I do surround yourself with, like-minded business people. If you want to get into farming, be connected to, like communities like what we're trying to do here, pull in like-minded business owners and to share their experience. So yeah, surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
All right. How about Deborah?
Maybe one for all entrepreneurs, right? Like entrepreneurship, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, it becomes your life, it consumes you. So whatever you choose to do, I think you have to ensure you're passionate about it. I think I've known Grace for more than 20 years. I have ran a bar, we've now started this. And, no matter what you do, you have to be really passionate about it just to be able to sustain yourself. Something that keeps me going with this farming business is that I always remind myself that all life starts from a little seed. So every little bit of work that we put in just helps to make the world a better place. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. And Sine?
Oh yeah, when it comes to quotes and jokes, and I'm not super. I feel fascinated by quotes, but I always forget them. But the quote that I sort of thought of was that you never too old to dream a new dream or find a new passion or to get things started. So we started, when I say we, it's my husband and I. It seems like I've been taking all the credit, but he's actually a main leader in this whole project that we've been doing. But we are, on our other side of the 40s, and one of us, not me, is on the other side of 50. So having started, entrepreneurs are usually really young people, and so we've started a little later in life. But I want to say it hasn't been a disadvantage. We brought with us a lot of knowledge, sometimes probably less risk-taking, which is a good thing to have, but we could probably have used a little more than that. But again, as Deborah said, following your dreams and your passions. And we've so enjoyed the learning journey that we are on and are going to be continuing to be on. We learn new things every day that's maybe outside of our original zone, and definitely something I wouldn't be without.
Right. And Zoe?
Okay, so for me, it's like have to be like agree with Deborah. We have to be very passionate, and also have to be very patient to yourself, because it's like being a farmer is you have to be like doing a lot of R&D research as well. So like every success is like determined on the hard work and also the journey.
Okay, and beyond.
Yeah, I think what I want to share is really agriculture is something that's been around for the last 10,000 years, and a lot of fundamentals and philosophies around agriculture it has not changed very much, and a lot of it is centered around society and community. Farms play a bigger role, a broader role than just producing food. There are places where community come together in villages in the past through Harvest Festival. It's a place of sharing. It's a place of care. And I share this quote with you. It's not my quote. It's a quote by this Japanese philosopher, Masanobu Fukuoka. If you have a chance, read his book. It's called The One Straw Revolution. It's a book that changed my perspective on agriculture. And he said, the ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings. And that, I think, encapsulates what farming and agriculture is all about. It's just not about growing that food. It's about a journey in life and about your connection with nature. I hope everyone will have that in their life.
All right. Thank you so much, Bjorn. And thank you so much, speakers. I'm sure some of you would have questions for them. We're going to have a networking session after this where you could ask them questions and, key it in. If you have your contact details and like to share and like to network with some people, feel free to share as well. So I'll just end off with this. For those of you who like to find out more about what we do and want to be part of our community, where you could join us in all of our monthly sessions, be it for business or for health and wellness as well, and to feature your business on our directory as well to gain presence. Okay, and there are certain benefits for the community as well. For those who are part of the community, and our partners do have special deals for you as well. So our upcoming event is on HR Health and Wellness. We do this every month, right? Just remember, for HR Entrepreneur Asia series, that will be every month on the third week Thursday. And for the Health and Wellness series is every last Friday of the month. Okay, so the upcoming one is on TCM, the Healing Art of Yin and Yang Therapy. If you're interested, feel free to join us. Here's the link for you, bit.ly Her Health Fab. Okay, and upcoming in March, we'll continue with this on 18 March, 26 March on health and wellness. And this time it is for the attendees to introduce yourself. Now, before you go, I have a poll for you. I just need you to pick an answer. What do you like about today's session? Okay, for those of you who need to leave, I understand. For those who could stay, do stay for the networking session. And just got 2 questions for you in the poll, right? So what do you like about today's session first? All right. Okay, we have about 33 of us. So I hope all of you could join in the poll. Okay, do we have everyone? 26, so more people are still keying in. All right. Okay, thank you. So most of you would say the topic discussed. Next is the speakers. All right, thank you. Next up would be another poll. Which topics will you be most interested in? This helps us to craft future topics as well. As you know, we do this every month. So please share what would be an area, a topic area that would interest you most. Okay. Wow, interesting. Very diverse answers. Okay. All right. Okay, most of you have voted, polling, and here's the result. All right. Okay, so influences of health, fitness, wellness, technology. Okay, thank you so much for contributing. All right, so next up, I'd like the attendees to introduce yourself. For those of you who have questions, feel free. And after which, you could join in the breakout room as well, where you can have more intimate sort of networking session. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on full view, full gallery view. Yeah, you guys can come on screen if you're comfortable. Okay, so most of you have your cameras off, right? So anyone have questions? I'd like to just introduce yourself and you can pose a question for the speakers. Okay, anyone? If yes, just unmute and introduce yourself. Okay, I've got 2 pages. No, too shy, too shy. It's Angela, and this Rosie on camera. Hi, Angela. Would you like to introduce yourself? And yeah.
I am a habit strategist and coach, and I live in Malaysia. And I'm doing a lot of habit work, and I'm working a lot on nutrition. And as I mentioned in the chat, I'm currently working on pushing my daughter's school to create an edible garden integrating the academic part like design and technology and whatever, that I leave up to the teachers, but someone has to kind of like steer, get the whole thing running. So I'm the pusher in the background. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. How about Rosie? Rosie.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I am not a gardener, never. But when COVID started, I start to pivot, and I learned a little bit about hydroponics. And just recently, very, very recent, I organized a workshop to conduct, hydroponics workshop for home hobbies. So as I'm learning, I'm also teaching and spreading about, the goodness of planting, whether it's soil planting or hydroponic planting. We should all be learning how to grow our own crops.
All right, thank you for sharing. And Dwayne, hi Dwayne, thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Renee. Very good panel that you guys have assembled. So I think I learned quite a bit. So just a quick introduction. Myself, I'm from Palo IT. We do digital innovation and transformation. I think a key question that I would like to ask is, is anyone here within the speakers involved in efforts in developing countries to actually help them in their urban farming or even non-urban farming efforts? And what is some of these engagements that you're doing with them? So opening it up to everyone, anyone.
Okay, anyone with experience in, this is overseas, right? Outside of Singapore.
Yeah. So outside of Singapore, developing countries, and for example, helping them with their technology for farming, etc.
Beyond, is your experience mostly here, or you have experience beyond Singapore?
We have done conferences and around the region in Southeast Asia. We haven't done a project yet overseas, but what we have done was to open up the farm in Singapore for migrant workers, mainly from Bangladesh, that were waiting to be sent back because of injury, and got them to go through a farm entrepreneurship training. And they were really excited with seeing the different systems and ideas, and some of them were wanting to take some of the ideas back. So something that we will explore in the future, or to see how we can bridge those gaps in the future. But then there are many counterparts within various countries, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand, that are doing very good work, social enterprises as well. So we do have connections with them, and we do talk to them, but we have not officially done a project overseas at this point.
All right. Any other questions from the floor? If not, I'm gonna, yes. Okay, Sini.
So obviously, not having the farming experience, we only support by buying products from farmers that in Vietnam there's a fairly big group of ethnic minority farmers, and we work with another company called DAT Butter, DAT Butter, and they are working with a group of ethnic minorities to farm peanuts and cashew, which is indigenous to Vietnam, to make mainly nut butter. We are a huge fan of their products and do what we can to promote it and sell it. We're not really making a profit, which we really shouldn't either, because it is supporting them and their families, and it's supporting the growth of the nuts in a sustainable way. So that's really the only way we can contribute, and it's probably also the easiest way when you don't know much about farming and can help in that way. But we do work with some projects like that, which is super important to us.
Maybe just to share, one of our partners that we work with, who's the importer for Ocean Solution, which is a natural fertilizer that we co-brand here in Singapore, we actually work with them. I mean, and they are probably the pioneers in this space, whereby they're supplying this natural ocean solution fertilizer to a lot of developing countries, including Africa and as well the Asia Pacific region, which helps to ensure that the soil can be used for multiple crops. So I think that's something that and it's actually very affordable when you buy in the big gallons as well. So I think that's something that we're trying to do a bit more of once we're able to travel.
Okay, anyone else? And we've got Mr. Kwok, you're on screen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm actually Mr. Fong, not Mr. Kwok, because
Oh, okay. The other way around, Mr. Fong. Yes.
Chinese names we don't really know what's the surname or what's the last name. So never mind. Yeah. So basically, I've been involved with a new startup in food security, and we are actually using our blockchain platforms to help farmers to grow more effectively about their vegetables. Not just vegetables, but anything. It can be even for bamboo. Say, for example, I'm doing a presentation on bamboo growing tomorrow in a webinar for one of the largest private institutions in Singapore. We're doing a project with them. So basically what we can do, for example, like a lot of you shared about Vietnam, that you have farmers that is usually been shortchanged by the middleman because of they're paid very little, or they have to finance their growth, their crops and their equipment. At the end of the day, they don't really make enough money for their families. And also, a lot of these farmers, we realize, is also mainly women. So our project started out of India, and we are now using our blockchain platforms to help to cut out the middleman, so to speak, okay, and to promote indigenous farming, and also to promote sustainable farming as well. So what we do is we're going to plow back the money back to the farmers so that it can be sustainable. So right now our projects are in India and in Africa. That's where we're starting with. So I'm just sharing with this because if you guys are in say Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, or Vietnam, if you all need something like that, we'll be most happy to discuss with you, see how we can work on it. It may not be immediate, but at least something we can look for on in the near future. And so basically, again, our secure foods platform is very similar to your topic right now, which is farm to fork. So we provide the entire value chain. And we'll also be doing cold chain storage, logistics, and all that. And including what was brought up earlier is halal. We're going to be doing halal certification for farmers who need that certification to bring their products to markets that requires this stamp on it. Yeah. So if any questions, you can just ask me. I'll try and answer as best I can.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions from the floor? If not, yes. Okay, if not, I'm just gonna open up the breakout rooms. So we have about, say, 10 minutes for your discussion, and then after which I can come back here. Yeah, and then we'll end the session. Okay, all right, here it is. Okay, you should have received a notification to join. Hi, Chin Chuan. Good to see you. Rosie, you are put into room 1. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Alice, thanks for sharing what you do. I'm not sure if you have a website to share, Alice. Okay. Okay, welcome back. So for those of you who have not met the rest of people,
Connie, I think Renee is experiencing some technical issues, so maybe can we proceed to?
well,
she just came back on.
yeah.
Well done.
Oh, they just came back. All right. Oh, maybe it's a timing thing. There's a lag, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, do we have more people? Okay, Daniel, Maureen, HH, New, Baruna. Okay, we're all back. All right. So now we have most people back here. Anyone else who would like to connect with anyone? Feel free. If you have any questions, this is your time. No? No, nobody, huh? Okay, so if that's the case, I'll see you if you'd like to join us in our next HGI Health and Wellness session that's coming up next Friday. If not, our regular Monday session will be on the following month, the third week's Thursday. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you on our subsequent sessions. Do keep in touch, and yeah, look forward to seeing you guys soon. For those of you who are overseas, I hope to connect soon when we can travel again. Thank you so much. Thank you, speakers, for your contribution. Thank you. Thank you, Beyond. Thank you, Grace, Sine, and Zoe. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah, as well. Thank you. To catch up again. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, don't know whether they're still around. Hey, Connie, you froze for a while or what? Or maybe you were so still that you were looking like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you was doing so still, like the speaker was talking, then you like, so, hey, how come you look so bored? Don't know, is it you froze or you just stare at something?
When? I don't know.
And you didn't smile, you know, and you
Connection
look
problem,
like,
is it? I think
you look
connection
like
problem.
you didn't.
Most probably is because of connection problem.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for assisting. Luckily, everything is okay. You guys recorded the event, right? Since the beginning, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Because I didn't catch the start of it. I wasn't sure, so I couldn't coordinate so many things. So I just midway, but they start sharing, then I recorded. So great. Then you recorded. Let's combine into the folder. We're gonna put in what? Marketing HCR Entrepreneur folder, right? Asia series folder. Okay, so we all put into that one. You compare and see which one you want to use, Daryl. Or you want to cut any pieces. All right, any quick updates? Oh, I should be stopping the